hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip bars is back. Hip hop, Sam and hop, oh God, hop, what's up with you? I done watched them niggas do
Definitely,
interview
man.
after
Something else
interview.
that sucks, Sam, man, is the news we just heard a couple hours ago about Dallas rapper MO3. We found out earlier that he passed away after being shot in his own hometown. Now, it was a lot of conflicting stories earlier on, whether or not, he was in stable condition, but we just found out that he did pass away. Now, a little bit of the backstory, they're pretty much saying he was riding down R.L. Thornton Freeway in Dallas when another car pulled up next to him and started shooting. They said he crashed his car, into a concrete barrier, and, he succumbed to his injuries. We were just talking about King Von, the video coming out today of what happened, and all these different rappers getting killed, or just getting shot at or robbed and stuff in their city. I think now it's to the point where it's an epidemic, and it needs to be some type of intervention. I ain't gonna say it needs to be stopped because I understand, that a lot of these dudes are coming from the street element already. So it ain't just going to stop, but it needs to be some type of an intervention somewhere. Sam, man, what do you think about another rapper being killed in his hometown?
You asked me, oh God, a couple of days ago, if this is a dangerous game, if you have a death wish, or is it a death sentence in being a rapper? I forgot exactly what you said, but something along those lines. And I said, not yet, after King Von's passing. And here we go with another incident, another rapper succumbing to violence. Now, I'm not with gun control, but I'm with controlling your motherfucking gun. You know what I'm saying? And at certain points, it's like we as individuals just have to, and I'm tired of even expressing the same rhetoric, but as I'm looking at the news and I'm looking at a brother just pulled over to the side of the road administering CPR to this young man that's dying in the middle of the street, you ask yourself, for what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We deal with enough, we go through enough. And this is why, and I'm glad that we're finding a certain level of success at our older age, just honestly for myself personally, because the wanting and the indulgence of putting money out on fucking internet and throwing my jewels out and flexing in front of people who are hungry and starving lions, hungry sharks, who see nothing but blood in the water when you seeing that money out there, or when you seeing them jewels out there, or when you seeing that flexing of the car, or the bad women, or all that shit that you want, but your talent ain't attainable to get that kind of shit, you go to the next best thing, which is going and eating that motherfucker who has it. And this is what we're seeing time and time again.
Right.
I don't know what we can do to stop it. I kind of go back on what I said to you as far as not yet. It may just be, bro. May just be.
Yeah, and I was acting Vic because honestly, we didn't know a whole bunch about this young brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we asked a young intern. He's more of that younger demographic, and he said he definitely knew about him, and he said that he definitely, rapped about that element. And I was listening to King Von's manager on Academics, and he was just saying, like, because a lot of us say, like, oh, how come they didn't have security? He said they did have security, and then he said, you got to understand, though, these dudes is young, and they just now coming out of that element. Like, they not to the point where they're mature in this. Even though he said that he had a bulletproof truck and all that, he was saying all this, but it was like, it's just certain things that, a young man, you're going to think differently than somebody in their mid-30s or 40s who been doing this for a long time. These cats was just, he's in and out of the streets still. So, I think when you have that, you bring beasts, you bring riffs, you bring different things over, to that. And, ultimately, like you said, that jealousy, or that maybe they wanted to rob you, but they didn't have an opportunity, so they shot you, whatever the situation, it just breeds the wrong type of attention. So just got to move smarter, and hopefully the mentality can be changed, man.
King Von did it the right way too. You talk about throw your hands, fight, do this, and you look at the tape, and I hate looking at tapes of people dying and shit starting to get nauseating and numb to me, but he hit him. He didn't pull out a gun. He didn't go ahead and create gun violence. He had an issue, and he threw his hands. And I wish we can all just kind of go on that level now. Throw a shot in the air. If your boy's taking an ass whipping and you don't like it, throw a shot in the air. Throw a warning shot. Get the fuck off my man. Whatever. Or go in there and take an ass with him, whip him. But don't. Now lives are ruined, man. We got to do better.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But we want to talk about the election. We know Joe Biden was pretty much declared the winner in front of everybody, but it seems like Donald Trump right now, he's not conceding. He's not backing down. He is not giving a speech. He's just talking on Twitter. But Van Jones brought some enlightenment to what exactly could happen. And while we might not see Joe Biden actually take control of the White House anytime soon.
Oh God, wasn't Van Jones crying on CNN after Biden got elected? That was that brother, right?
Yeah, it was. And man,
I don't know if it was before or after what we're about to hear, but nonetheless, let's see what he had to say.
As a political commentator, and frankly, as a former White House official, I used to think I knew a lot about how America picks a president. I was wrong. I did not know. And this year I've been doing some research into some of the fine print and all the different things in our Constitution that we never talk about. And I've discovered some legal loopholes that shock me, I guarantee will shock you, and could determine the way that the presidential election in 2020 turns out. For instance, did you know that under our Constitution, a presidential candidate could actually lose the popular vote, fail to get a majority in the Electoral College, refuse to concede, manipulate hidden mechanisms in our government, and still get sworn in as the President of the United States of America? That's a true fact. I know it sounds like some crazy House of Cards episode, and I wish it was, because then we could just change the channel. But I just described to you a real world, real life possibility that could occur this year, the year I'm talking, in 2020, or in some other year if we don't fix some of these glitches in our system. If you're behind in the ninth inning, you just come out and concede. All right? So all those other innings don't matter. That's really how the presidential elections work in America, because the Constitution actually spells out two different sets of innings. You got the popular election process that everybody pays attention to, and then you've got the elite selection process that everybody essentially ignores. In a close election, if nobody concedes, the second invisible process, these extra innings, if you will, they actually matter a whole lot. Let me explain. That first set of innings, popular election, it's what you think about when you think about the presidential election. It's the primaries, the caucuses, the debates, the conventions, it's election night, it's all that stuff. Most of the time, the loser on election night at that point just concedes. Why? The American people have spoken, all that. But according to the Constitution, the game is technically not over. After the cameras go away, after the confetti swept away, the Constitution requires this whole other set of innings, these elite selection process stuff. And this is all behind closed doors. It's among government officials. And this process goes from the end of the vote counting in November through December, all the way into January. You just never think about it, because for so many generations, these extra innings haven't mattered much, because the election night loser just concedes. So this other stuff's just a formality. Even in 2000, Vice President Al Gore gave up as soon as the Supreme Court ordered an end to the vote counting. Gore did not continue the fight into the state legislatures, into the Electoral College, into Congress. He didn't try to discredit the results in the press. Frankly, he didn't send his supporters out into the streets with protest signs or pitchforks or long guns. As soon as the court said the vote count is done, he just conceded to George W. Bush. Because that's what we do. That's just kind of how we do things around here. You don't fight in the extra innings until maybe 2020. Curse you, 2020. So what could happen instead? Instead of conceding,